Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built. Today we're going to hopefully finalise up the bodywork on the Beetle and then fingers crossed get some primer on it. Man, this thing is a lot faster with all this weight off of it. I can see how weight reduction actually works now. This thing moves. In any case, it's a matter of firstly going around and just sort of looking over the body and seeing what areas I need to touch up, what I need to do, and we'll sort out a game plan. All right, first thing I want to tackle is there's actually a dent here. I'd never really noticed it before because the bumper went over the top, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and pop this out first, see if I can just press it back out without beating it too much so that I don't sort of create too many issues. And if I can just sort of pop most of it out and just give it a light tidy up, then we can keep going over the rest of the car and start seeing what's good and what's not. All right, that's much better. And I also just sort of beat out a bit of a dent that was just here, obviously from someone closing the bonnet incorrectly or something. But I'll just go through and give that a little skim of filler just to make it perfect, but it's 95% of the way there as it is. Now I'm going to go over the whole car. I'll probably get out the wire wheel, and there's a few little spots that look like they're rusty, so I'm going to hit everything with a wire wheel first just to see what we've got, and then I can sand and work around and just go over the whole thing and see if I can get it as good as we can. All right, I went through and I started grinding back the car, and there's a few more surprises I wasn't aware of this here. Not sure that there's like a foam in there or something, but in any case, that is a lot of rot there that I can't leave that. That's got to have to be tidied up. There's other places where there's little bits and pieces along. Let's see, there's the drainage holes there on the edge, but there's these couple of bits here that I have to repair. Along this edge here, it needs a bit of repair. I don't know whether I'm going to go to the point of pulling it all out. I might just touch in the holes and rust treat it all. The bulk of the rest of it's pretty good. There was another little tiny spot. There's another little spot just here that I have to touch up. Surprisingly, this whole area around here is all good. There's no rust there. Yeah, this side, there's a couple of little spots, but again, only just a couple of minor little spots where there's actual rust through. So, time to get the welder out and start making up some repair panels and see if we can fix this stuff. That is nasty. I can't see where they've actually done a repair. Like this is all solid metal up here, but there's a bunch of paper in behind here that was obviously just rotting. I don't know where it was shoved in or where the repair was done, but generally when I've seen this, people just sort of stuff paper in a hole, bog over the top, and that's their repair. I don't know, but either way, it's obviously soaked in water and it rotted out this area here. But as I said, like further up, it's all solid. It doesn't feel like it's actually like covered in a big layer of bog. I'm not going crazy on this car where I want to grind it all back just to see what's going on. I'm fixing what is demanding my attention right now, and that's it. In any case, I'll clean the rest of this out, and we're going to make a patch panel for this and weld it back in again. But yeah, there's still a bit of cleaning to do. This is disgusting. Do not stuff paper in your car because it just ends up soaking up water and it'll rust out. Good tip. So as you might have seen, I just traced the old piece onto my piece of sheet metal, trimmed it out, and then just proceeded to just beat it around in shape by hand. It's a bit of an interesting wobbly looking shape, but it actually fits really nicely now. It's quite a nice decent fit. So I'll just clean it up, put a bit of primer on the back first, and then we'll start welding it in. Patch 1 is done, so now it's a matter of just working my way around the car and just touching up all the individual little ones. So let's get into it. All right, so these patches up here along the edge of the windscreen are all repaired and looking good. So now it's moving down these bits along the side here. As I said, there's lots of sort of surface rust here. There's only a few spots which actually gone all the way through. So what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to cut out this whole section and remake the whole section, I'm going to go through, and I've got a bit of brass rod here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this underneath, and the welder won't actually stick to the brass rod, so I'll hold this against the holes underneath, so I have something solid to weld against and weld up these holes. If I try to weld them by themselves, the issue I had, and even up here, is the steel is so thin that it's really difficult to weld, because the weld just blows a bigger hole in the steel. So it's a matter of just working along gradually, and hopefully I can fill these up and then rust treat it, and it should be good for many years to come. Okay, the front end was pretty painless. That's all come together quite nicely. I'm happy with all the rust repairs up there. So the last little bit I've got on the body that I've noticed is just a little patch here. So one more little patch, and then the rust repair section should be done, and then it's a matter of starting to finish it all up and get it all looking nice. All right, so after more rust than I was expecting to tackle today, that is all sorted out. I'm happy with filling all the holes, that's all good. But now I need to actually go through and stop it from coming back. And the way I do that is I just go over everything with a rust converter. This is just a simple rust converter from Supercheap that I use. And basically you paint it on and leave it for about 10 or 15 minutes. And what it does is it converts all of the rust that's there. It neutralizes it all turns black, and that should stop it from, well, it stops it in its tracks. And then when you go over it, I've got to wipe it all off clean. I've got to use water first, then metho, then prep sol it back, and then I can put my bog over the top and seal it all in. And it shouldn't keep activating. It should be neutralized and not come back. So let's put some rust converter on and just start tidying things up so I can start getting into the paint and bog work. Okay, so the rust converter's all done, and I've given the thing a bit of a clean up. While I'm waiting for the rust converter to do its job, I'm going to go around the edges of all these windows and just scrape off all the silicone that's built up all around there. There's just a bit of tidying up, so then I can get in and do a final sand over everything, get it all, the way I need it before I do the bog work. Okay, so now I've gone through and I've cleaned up all of the rust protection. That's all ready to go. I'm just going to go through now and just sand around all those areas and then get back onto my favourite bog work. Yay! All right, we're really getting there. There's no way I'm getting primer on this today, but there was definitely a lot more repairs than I thought I was going to have to do. But while I'm waiting for all that body filler to set up, I'm just going to go through now and I'm just going to go through and do sand the whole thing, run over, make sure I've got all the edges, everything is all done and ready to go. Well, I didn't get as much done today as I thought I might. I obviously found a lot more rust than I was expecting, but now I can happily say that this is a nice, solid, rust-free car. And that's what I was actually sold in the first place. So it was supposed to be rust-free, except for a little bit here and a little bit there. Those little bits turned out to be much bigger bits, and that's always the way it goes. That's what you expect with these old cars. But now it's in really good shape, and I've gone through and panel beat it. I'm happy with the shell. The shell is good and it's ready to go. So next week it's just going to be a matter of a quick little bit more of sand and mask it up and paint it. So, or at least put some primer on it. In any case, that is all I have time for this week. So that means it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, in 1958, work began on a huge expansion of the Australian Volkswagen factory, increasing the building areas by a factor of 10. A precision master body jig is sent out from Wolfsburg, and this is just the second such jig outside of Germany after South Africa. The jig was to be used to ensure super precise tolerances for dies and jigs used for production. Both the ample and mobile gas trials are run again, and Volkswagen take out first, second, fourth and fifth place in the mobile gas trial, which proves the race's demise. After 4 years of unbeatable reliability of the Volkswagens, the public lost interest and the race was not run again. 1958 also saw the 50,000th Australian Volkswagen sold. Volkswagen sales had overtaken Austin and Morris, placing Volkswagen third in Australia, only behind Holden and Ford.
Okay, I didn't get as much done today as I thought I might, but I'm quite happy with what I got done. There was a lot more rust than I thought, but that is now sorted out, so next week there should be some primer on this thing.
Also, we were going to be asking you guys if you could come up with some suggestions for some of the car names.
Basically, I've been thinking, because I've got so many projects going now, instead of just calling it the Beetle and the Porsche and the, how about, I like the names that they use. For example, if any of you watch Roadkill, and they've got the ugly truckling and, lots of sort of creative names rather than just giving it a, person's
Beetle
name. Yeah, so 3 suggestions out there for any of the cars, all of the cars, throw them out there. It'd be fun to give it a bit of a name. So,
okay.
All right. Well, as always, please head down the description, help the channel out, get some shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, all that sort of stuff. You know the drill. And please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out if you hit that subscribe button. So, all right, guys. See you next time.
By 10%. No. Which proves the race's demise. Demise. The Ducati demise. 50,000th. 1958 also saw the 50,000th.